What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Nathan, and on this planet we send it. And what we're going to be getting in today, well, I got Death Wobble in the back. He basically was letting me know that he was kind of freezing to the bones out here on the back side of the 395, where the Sierra Nevadas are just completely snow covered and beautiful. So the plan for this video is we're actually be doing two parts. We're going to be doing the first part. We're going to be going out and seeing some of the sights that we see today, and then obviously we're going to be breaking up part two and the things that we're going to be getting out to tomorrow. And the reason why is because we're out here just doing more of a safari style Jeep Wave. Nice looking Jeep. We're going out and doing sort of a safari style, basically taking a little tour in the Jeep of all these different cool things to see. We just finished up doing one of the Japanese internment camps, so I'll be showing you guys that first on some of the walking around and driving tour aspects of that. But then also we're heading on over here to the other side of the 395, going to see this, I forget what it's, some sort of mine. I'll go ahead and put it right here when I do the editing. But supposedly that's going to be pretty cool and scenic, to where we'll get just some great views of the valley. And then we'll talk about day two when we get there. But this should be a pretty easy trip as far as like maybe any all-wheel drive. I don't anticipate doing any sort of hard rock crawling or anything like that. It's basically going to be pretty scenic. So, you know, anything like an Outback or a Bronco could do it. You know, so not too well-equipped vehicles could come on out here. Sorry about that brake. Joe just hit the gas here on one of these roads, so I'm in the Mojave, so I had to go ahead and send it too. But by the way, Joe, thank you again for inviting me, and even my family coming out here. I know coming out here with you, you're going to be showing us some cool things, so I'm very grateful for it. All right, I got a plan in place. Risks are acceptable. Let's go ahead and send it. So after we met up and had our driver's meeting, we went ahead and crossed the 395 over to Manzanar. Manzanar is a Japanese internment camp that I'll talk about here in a second. But before I actually had a chance to go ahead and tour the internment camp, I actually went and ran a couple of drone shots just to get a good view, which I'm going to show you here, to give you an idea kind of where it is in relation to the 395. And I wanted to kind of show this to you because if you are just driving along the 395, it would be very easy to miss Manzanar. And it's actually a pretty important place in our history. At least, you know, I'm of the mindset that in order to not repeat history, you need to know history. And so I'm going to spend just a couple of minutes in here and talk to you about Manzanar. So just know that I pulled my references from a wiki and also the government site of Manzanar. So these are a few tidbits that I put together. Manzanar is the site of one of 10 American concentration camps where Japanese Americans were incarcerated during World War II from March of 1994 to November of 1995. Although it had over 10,000 inmates at its peak, it was one of the smaller internment camps. It is located at the foot of the Sierra Nevada mountains in California's Owens Valley, between the towns of Lone Pine to the south, where we were camping, where we were staying at our hotels, and Independence to the north. The weather at Manzanar caused suffering for the inmates because few were accustomed to this extreme area climate. While the majority of the people were from Los Angeles, some came from other places too. But the summers on the desert floor in Owens Valley are generally hot during the summertime, where they can exceed 100 degrees Fahrenheit. The winters bring occasional snowfall where the temperatures will drop down into the 40s, and at night the temperatures into the 30s and 40s. And as a matter of fact, while we were there, the temperatures were in the upper to mid 20s at nighttime, so it definitely can get pretty cold there. The campsite was situated on 6,200 acres, leased from the city of Los Angeles, with the developed portions covering approximately 540 acres. 8 guard towers equipped with machine guns were located at intervals around the perimeter fence, which was topped by barbed wire. The grid layout used in the camp was standard, and similar layout was used in all relocation centers. A lady that was mentioned in Wikipedia, Janine Wakatsuki, please forgive me the pronunciation, Houston, described the living conditions in her book, and I quote, "After dinner, we were taken to Block 16, a cluster of 15 barracks that had just been finished a day or so earlier. Although finished was hardly a word for it. Its shacks were built of pine planking covered with tar paper. They sat on concrete footings. With about 2 feet of open space between the floorboards and the ground, gaps showed between the planks. And the weeks passed, and the green wood dried out. The gaps widened. Knotholes gapped in the uncovered floor. In this book, she goes to explain the size of the layout of the barracks. They were divided into 6 units that were 16 long by 20 feet wide, and a single light bulb hung from the ceiling. They had an oil stove for heat, as well as many as 2 army blankets each, some mattresses covered, and steel army cots. But for the Japanese, after being uprooted from their homes and communities, the incarcerated people had to endure primitive substandard conditions at these internment camps, with also a lack of privacy. They had to wait in line for meals at the latrines and the laundry rooms. Each camp was intended to be self-sufficient, and Manzanar was no exception. Cooperatives operated various services such as the camp newspaper, beauty salons, and barbershops, shoe repairs, libraries, and more. In addition, there were some who raised chickens, hogs, and vegetables and cultivated the existing orchards for fruit. During the time that Manzanar was in operations, 188 weddings were held, 541 children were born in the camp, and between 135 and 146 individuals died. But I forgot where I heard it or I read it from. May have been on a video. Apparently, after the camps were dissolved, a lot of the families went back and moved the dead family remains to other locations. But just to kind of finish up, people made life at Manzanar more tolerable through recreation. They participated in sports, including basketball, football, baseball, soccer, volleyball, etc., and including martial arts. Theater performance for internees, camps administrations, then WR staff, and even more some of the members of the surrounding communities included original productions by the internees, as well as traditional Japanese works of kabuki and no. And then if you want to know a little bit about what the Owens Valley looked like prior to the European settlers, Manzanar was first inhabited by the indigenous people nearly 10,000 years ago. Approximately 1,500 years ago, the area was settled by the Owens Valley Paiute, who ranged across Owens Valley from Long Valley on the north to Owens Lake on the south, and from the crest of the Sierra Nevadas on the west to the Inyo Mountains on the east. So I recognize that we're kind of ending on a somber note due to the seriousness of the history here, but we'll go ahead and uplift the mood doing a quick music montage over to the reward mine, to where we're actually going to be able to drive into the mine with my Jeep Gladiator Mojave. All right, let's go ahead and send it. So this is the reward mine, and as you can see, you're capable of driving into it. And just so you know, I'm showing this at 6 times the normal speed, so that we can get through this in about 1 minute. And you know, a couple of things to note about the reward mine is, as you can see, I am bringing in my Gladiator, so a Gladiator can come in here. But there are a few cautions on which type of vehicle to bring in here. A couple of vehicles that, well, at least I would say the main thing you want to consider about not bringing in here are vehicles that are lifted too high, because it does get a little narrow in here, but correction, it does get a little shallow in here, you know, so that maybe tall vehicles aren't able to get through that easy. Actually, you'd probably get stuck or scrape on something, but it's definitely no issue for, you know, the longer Jeeps. So just be careful if you choose to come here. As a matter of fact, you saw Joe there as I was pulling up. He decided he didn't want to go, number one, because he had been a few times, but because that's exactly what he was saying, is it gets a little tight for vehicles that are high. But besides that, it's a pretty cool experience. You know, I don't think I went all the way down there, but I did make it to the cylinder block wall, and I thought that was good enough. But by the time you finish it, it's kind of like you feel like you've been inaugurated, and it's a pretty cool feeling now that you finished. And then, yeah, we just waited for everyone else to go.
Yeah. All right, how was it?
What was that?
I don't know if I went all the way.
That's all right. Did you get down there to the cylinder block wall?
I went in 2 different ways, and then there was one that had a dead end, and I turned there and went back.
Sounds good. Sounds good. You might want to turn on some more lights.
I don't think I got it.
Oh, okay.
We need at least 2 more. I think he does need some more light.
Yeah, he definitely does. Everyone seems to talk to you when they're coming out, so I'm coming over here.
It was good? Yeah, that was badass.
And for those that remember Patrick, he is fixed and everything. The one who had the broken axle on the Rodriguez rock. So Patrick, how did you fix yourself after the Rodriguez rock trail? Rock garden.
I had to get new U-joints. We got that all taken care of. Chromoly.
Chromoly, nice.
All good to go.
All right. Well, have fun in there. We'll see you when you get back.
So that's when we took shelter behind the sand dune.
How was it?
It was awesome.
Nice.
You can turn the lights off?
Oh yeah. I wanted to turn the engine off.
What's that? Yeah, absolutely. Now that you did this, what are you doing now?
I'm gonna watch other people do it. It's so cool.
Not going to Disneyland?
Bye, Planet Sunday.
All right, all right.
Right out.
Patty, I feel sorry for you. I know who your company is.
I'm so sorry for you.
I will get you Death Wobble instead.
Nobody likes you.
I was hoping you would have had an ejection seat.
How was it?
Oh, 4-cylinder.
New York. All right, Death Wobble's cracking me up back there. So we are heading out over to Cerro Gordo now. We just finished up the Manzanar Internment Camp, and then we went into that mine. To be honest, it was only about like maybe a half mile in and out of that mine, you know, round trip. But we had to go one by one, so it took a little bit of time. So like I said, we're heading around over to Cerro Gordo. I haven't been there before. I have seen a YouTube video on it. A gentleman, I guess, who owns the property there did the history on this area, which was really well done, and it actually gave me a pretty good preview of what's to come. So we're about to go see that. I think we're about 45-minute trip on the way around there, so when we get there, I'll see you then. So the drive up to Cerro Gordo was pretty easy, and as a matter of fact, I'll illustrate how easy it was at the very end of this video if you stay that long. But just when you're coming up to Cerro Gordo, just like really anywhere else in the valley, you're really in treat for some beautiful scenery. And as a matter of fact, that lake in the back, it's for the most part dried up. From my understanding, if I recall correctly, it used to be about 300 feet deep in its maximum height, but that was the lake that an aqueduct was built from that actually helped helped Los Angeles get started and grow. So the Los Angeles population is actually what drained that lake. And I think, again, if I recall correctly, it currently supplies Los Angeles with about 1/3 of its water from all the runoff. But Cerro Gordo is a beautiful place, and let me show you some of the cool things about it. And I definitely recommend you coming up if you have the chance. And a quick planning note, if you choose to come up here to Cerro Gordo, we came up in February, and at the bottom of the valley, I think it was about mid to maybe upper 40s. But by the time we got up to Cerro Gordo, it was actually in the upper 20s. So a pretty significant temperature change. So definitely make sure you come up with appropriate attire. Old church and movie theater. Man, this is pretty cool. Taking a look at the stained glass. That is really nice quality. Hopefully it's coming out on the GoPro. Man, in this chair too, it's a little low light in here. I hope you guys are seeing it good enough. This is crazy. I mean, it's just cool. Cool history. Old dresser here. And it's not warm up here. That's why I'm like freezing. I think it's about 30 degrees out right now. We're just at 47. Not sure what that is. What is this? A blower forge. Okay. Guess it's to blow it for the forge and make it hotter. Let's go on over to the next area. Oh, wait, hold on a second. What's this right here? Oh, check out that. Old school. Man. Should go in the church and check out the stained glass. They got some pretty cool things in there.
Actually, I already know what it looks like.
Oh, see it in person.
But you're actually
I know I will.
Yeah.
You're actually here.
Actually,
Yeah, you ain't actually done nothing except seen a video.
Hey, I've lived through your videos.
But you've been in quite a few of them.
Well, that's different. The brothel's right in front of you, where the gray building is.
Oh.
Over there.
You can check it out too. They still have the.
I'm scared to walk on the ice.
All wires in there.
Oh. I thought this place was kind of cool because it kind of shows how originally all the wood was sort of milled for the mine itself, but you can see it making its way back with the trees in the back there in the valley. Something tells me they don't want us to go down there.
Someone hasn't been down this shaft in quite some time. Or at least it doesn't appear to.
And I can't see the bottom. I don't know if my GoPro can or not. I guess we'll see when the video comes out. So this was the point when the caretaker or the owner of the property came up to me and asked not to record any video. So this will be the last clip that I record. But I will say, if you're in the area, come and check it out. It's definitely cool to come up here. And as you see by the end of the video, just about any vehicle can make it up here. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on part 2.